Counselor? There's a raccoon stuck in the vending machine.
That's so annoying. I wanted a snack.
Welcome to Trail Mix.
Our mini episodes from Camp Counselors podcast.
Each week, the stories come from you, our Camp Shady Birch campers.
We want to hear your juicy gossip,
Top secret confessions,
embarrassing and scary stories.
and sprinkle in our sage counselor advice.
Trail Mix is for the campers.
And God, do we love ya.
Hey, happy campers!
Welcome back to Trail Mix.
This is our mini episode where we read listener submitted stories.
It's been a minute since we've recorded one of these.
Yeah, it has, actually. I feel a little rusty. I hope I still know how to read.
No, I think it's gonna be good. We're gonna do a couple episodes all in one chunk. That's what we usually do. So
Yeah.
we just spent some time coordinating some great stories for you. We have a couple great episodes coming up.
Also coordinating outfits. I didn't see the shirt under that. You're giving green hat, green shirt, and green overcoat for those listening. And I am giving green sweatshirt. Oh, red socks, red hat. I'm like Christmas.
I'm also giving natural lime green White Claw.
Classic. That's the one that gives me acid reflux.
I don't even like this one, but I knew I was committing to the green outfit. So I was like, maybe I can talk myself into enjoying lime because it's just kind of going with the aesthetic.
And how are we feeling about it today?
I'm not a lime girl. My favorite seltzer, if it's not alcoholic, is the Polar Raspberry Lime. I think that one is key, but lime in an alcoholic seltzer has never been my jam.
No, I totally agree. And if I drink that one and then I get horizontal, like I lay down after, it is acid reflux and heartburn city. That might just be me getting old and poor diet decisions.
Maybe if you drink one, you can just stand sleeping up.
Like you do when you wake up in the middle of the night.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's unpack that for a minute. So I made a TikTok last night, and if you coordinate the dates, you'll figure out when we're recording this episode. But I was talking about how I'll be scrolling TikTok in bed at night and I'll see all these videos about like how bad it is to sleep on your stomach. And it's like, I can't control how I sleep. That is just the way I was born. Like, I don't know if my mom put me on my stomach as a child, but like, apparently if you sleep on your stomach, like your face pressed against your arm can cause like sagging over time.
Which, I mean, I get it. It makes sense. You're sleeping for the healthy person would be sleeping for, 6 hours?
8 hours. It's supposed to be 8 hours for sure.
Never that. I'm never going to do that.
I think if you get 6, that's like probably fine.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was reading all these comments and I was like just basically defending being like a stomach sleeper and being like, leave me alone. Like if I could, I would sleep on my back, but I can't. And I got so much feedback, and there's something really interesting you're going to find out about this.
Okay.
So many people were saying to me that every time they sleep on their back, they get sleep paralysis.
From sleeping on their back.
I swear to God, go through my comments, like at least 20 people being like, oh, I don't sleep on my back because when I do, I get sleep paralysis. Apparently you're more prone to getting like sleep paralysis, and I would assume night terrors if you're sleeping on your back. And maybe that's why sometimes I give you a fright in the middle of the night with a night terror, because Jonathan always accuses me of like waking up and like screaming and like shouting to help me, and then I go back to sleep and I never have a recollection of it, and he swears up and down. But then I always tell him, like, if that's happening, why aren't you recording it? We live in the 21st century. Like, if it wasn't recorded, it's not true. And that's the business we live in.
Okay, well, let's open up this camp court, because why would I, if you're jumping up, most of the time you wake me up and you're like, help me, or you like scream or you sit up or something. Why would my first thought, which mind you, I'm being woken out of a slumber, so I'm not fully processing what's going on. All I hear is you saying, help me, or freaking out and like shaking me. So I'm not going to grab my phone and be like, he's up at it again. My first thought is like, what the actual fuck is going on? Then I have to process, and then I have to see if you're awake, which you're usually not. And sometimes you just sit there. The other day you did it for a long time, and it was very strange.
Imagine if your partner was telling you this and you have no recollection. I kind of feel like I'm being gaslit here. That doesn't sound like me. And maybe if it is, maybe I was sleeping on my back and that's why I'm not going to do it. Well, I don't think we're going to be settling this debate today of me and my spooky terrors. Stomach sleepers unite. I see you and I'm with you.
Okay, court is adjourned, I suppose.
We have a fantastic episode for you today, campers. My first story is about a camper who evaded criminal charges.
I've got a story about a pre-med camper who was betrayed by her lunch.
I have the scariest Seagull story I've ever heard in my life. It's actually terrifying, so get ready for that one.
And an erotic audiobook gone horribly wrong.
Let's get into it, campers.
This is a really big secret. Thank God we're on a body of water. This is Confession Canoe.
Welcome back to Confession Canoe. We're lending an ear. This is a safe space. If you have a confession, this is the place to do it.
If you have a confession, you can write into campcounselorspodcast.com or just email us directly at campcounselorspod@gmail.com. And you might just make the show if it's steamy enough.
All right, let's get into this. Hey, counselors, wanted to write in and share my story. I'm a doctor now, but this story harkens back to my undergrad days when I was 19 and dumb and hot, and I was just starting to take pre-med specific classes. I love that. I was 19 and dumb and hot, and I was taking classes.
I love a hot pre-med student. It's like, yeah, you should be a hot doctor. We need more hot doctors. Every time I go to the hospital, I'm like, get away from me, uggos. I want a hot doctor. Imagine going there like, if you're going to operate on me, you better be hot. It's actually not that crazy of a suggestion.
Literally, this
I'm
is
just joking.
open
Campers.
heart surgery. Like, I don't care. I don't want to wake up to you.
I want that doctor shirtless as he's operating on my open heart.
Oh my God.
Stop, I'm joking.
Also, before I jump in, I do also, she said, this story harkens back. Never in my life have I used the word harkens, like my own word.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start using that. A few months into classes, I started developing handshakes and head fog. At this time, I was taking a class all about horrific neurological disorders and was convinced that I was just a hypochondriac and my symptoms were all related to anxiety. I get that.
Especially those symptoms, it sounds like it would just be anxiety. I could see that one specifically for sure.
I feel like if you're a med student and you have like the slightest inkling of hypochondria, you're just going to self-diagnose as anything because you're learning about so many different things that could go wrong in your body. You're going to be like, that is literally me.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Well, that's what's happening with our camper right now. It all came to a head when during our final exam for that class, the case study was of a girl who was the same age as me and came from a similar background. She had many of the same symptoms I was feeling too. The girl in the case study had a slow-growing brain tumor. That did it for my anxiety. I went through weeks of panic attacks, convinced I had a brain tumor. I ended up running my own clumsy at-home test and self-diagnosed myself, which you should never do.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Camber. I love and support you. I need you to walk me through how you do an at-home test for like a tumor in your skull. It doesn't seem like you have the equipment. She's like, I put my head near the microwave and I hit popcorn button and I just counted the beeps. It's like, that's not making sense.
I'm thinking she's looking in the mirror and like turning on the light and she's like, my pupils are dilated. That is the at-home test. Self-diagnosed instantly.
It's giving you.
It quite literally could be me. Oh, just wait till we get to the end and you're gonna be like, wait, it fully is giving you. Okay. Then I went to the university clinic where she asked me 3 questions about my diet. As it turns out, it wasn't a brain tumor. I had mercury poisoning from my lunch. Yep, that's right.
No.
I was a pescatarian at the time and lived off tuna sandwiches nearly every single day.
This is literally, are you the case study? I've literally been talking about this. So, okay, tuna revunia, that's going to get you in a medical review.
I really haven't had it in a while. Let me finish the story. Okay. Let me reemphasize the important part of that sentence. I ate a tuna sandwich every single day. Luckily, I ended up being okay after cutting back. She's like, I am not quitting cold turkey, bitch. I'm not quitting cold tuna either.
She's like, give me the tuna patch.
Ew, that's so gross and stinky.
It's just the can. That's what the patch is. It's just the lid of the can. And
Ew, you
slap
just
to
stick it
your
on.
arm.
And if it cuts your arm, it gets in your bloodstream faster. It is what it is, you know? You got to get through it to get over it. Okay, so luckily I
Literally have to get through it to get over it.
Amen.
That was really poetic about a tuna can.
Thank you. I think I read it on a Snapple cap. Okay. Luckily, I ended up being okay after cutting back. We got it. I remember following up with that same doctor after a few months, and he referred to me. Sorry, this was a male doctor. He referred to me as patient tuna the entire appointment.
Oh,
That's not professional and rude.
it is.
And then, okay, wait. And the camper's like, well, now I'm a doctor and I still eat tuna. Not nearly as much as I would like, but hey, it's all about balance, right? Love you too. And I'm still waiting for an update to tuna revunia. Sorry. Signed, that one camper who no one will sit next to because they stink of tuna in cabin 2.
That is hysterical. That is so you. So can you go back really quickly and refresh me on what her symptoms were? So her hands were shaking.
Hands were shaking. Earth was quaking. Mom's spaghetti. Her hands were shaking and she had brain fog, which same, but that's why we just can't diagnose ourselves.
Well, it's kind of good now. Like, this is going against what you just said, but if you ever have those symptoms, you should go back and look at your lunch. You really have been off your tuna game lately.
I really have. And we have some. I don't know. I've just been put off by it.
Yeah, well, that's a story that will put you off for it. But we saw that. So a camper sent in to us. They were at a Costco, I believe. And I think we talked about it on the show.
I don't know if we did.
Apparently there's this brand at Costco where you can buy mercury-free tuna. It's like tuna that's been completely tested. And obviously it's at Costco and you can buy like an 18 pack. So it's definitely something we should look into for you when you get back on your tuna revunia kick.
I'm so ready for that. That's going to be I haven't had any in 2024. Oh my, you know what? We went to go get some last night at the deli.
We really did last night try to get tuna at the deli.
And we were turned away at the door. The bouncer was like, we're out of tuna. Get the fuck out.
I know. It was kind of funny because he was like, we don't have tuna. And then we just were like, okay. Jonathan's like, we'll get what you're going to get. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get. If you can't get it, we'll get pizza around the corner. Oh no, sorry. And the guy was kind of gagged at the deli counter because we were leaving and he was like, oh, I'm like, no, we don't have a backup. You don't have our first draft pick.
Yeah.
Then our second draft pick is pizza. I'm not going to get the chicken cutlet.
Sorry, bitch. Bye.
Actually, that would have been good. So
that probably would have been good. I know I didn't want to hold you back. Maybe we can get that later. Anyway, that's my story.
I also have another confession canoe. I didn't realize it because it starts off as Dear Counselors, but that's just how she wrote it.
I understand. Okay, so let's more confessions. Let's get into it.
A double confession canoe, everybody. Well, good thing canoes aren't single canoes. There's like a single kayak, but there's never been a single canoe.
No, I think there may have been at one point in time.
Oh my God, personal canoes. Add that to my business list. Also thought of a really good idea for a business in that last segment. I thought about we should have facts on the bottom of tuna lids. Why doesn't anything that open have a fact on it? Like Snap will really capitalize on that, but everything should have a fact on the bottom of it.
Yeah, let's Snapalize on that.
I like those little Dove chocolates that when you open them up, they have little love messages.
Oh, the only problem is I can't read enough of them. I got to eat one more chocolate.
I need another fortune. They're literally just quotes, but go off.
They make me feel good about myself. Damn it.
Dear counselors, hi queens. This is not your average speeding ticket story. My story consists of a sneaky maneuver turned wrong, and you'll find out why. I only told my boyfriend about this years after it happened, and I need to get it off my chest. It's a little long, but I promise it's a silly one. This whole fiasco happened in 2015. I was about 17 years old, and I was working at a part-time job at a froyo place. Remember the froyo fad on the East Coast? Rip to those places, I can still taste the cake batter flavor to this day.
I was just going to say, when was the last time you went to like a froyo specific place?
In high school. I'm sorry, this is such a segue, but I'm going to talk about it. This is so crazy. Froyo hit my area in the craziest way. There was this like brand. It was called Pinkberry. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar.
It was like kind of a big deal. It wasn't a local mom and pop. If you know, you know. It was like a chain. And they had one that came to Cranston, and we lived in Dartmouth at the time. And kids, I was like a sophomore in high school, so like people were like just getting their licenses. But people in my school on Friday nights would drive all the way to Cranston for like that's like just under an hour to get froyo and come back, and that was the activity. And they would come back on Monday, and people would say we went to Pinkberry in Cranston. And I remember sitting in my seat in history class being like, fuck, why wasn't I at Pinkberry on Friday? Like there was a social currency that came with frozen yogurt at that time. Like it wasn't just a fad. It was the thing to fucking do. And now they're all abandoned.
And we didn't have any Pinkberries near us. I remember a very specific photo of Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez at Pinkberry and thinking
Really?
to myself, my God, I wish we had a Pinkberry. Because I was very aware of what it was. We didn't have any in the state. So like Pinkberry, they reached far and wide.
Well, it's funny because I remember going finally to like a frozen yogurt place because they started to pop up everywhere at that point. And I remember we would still go with my friends because everybody loved it because it was like, oh, you got your own flavor, you made your own mix, whatever. I never even liked it. Genuinely swear on the Bible, I never enjoyed it. I always thought to myself, well, why aren't we just getting ice cream at this point? Because there was a flavor difference. It was almost a little bit like tart, tacky. I don't know what it was.
Why am I chewing a little bit?
But I used to always get the little mochi, the little soft gummy mochi.
Oh
that was
my
cute.
God. Yeah, I worked at the apartment complex I worked at in the lobby. They had one and I would get it for free because I worked there. Are you kidding me? The amount that I would eat, and I would get the little bobas that pop in your mouth like a little zit.
Uh-huh.
But when I was in high school, the frozen yogurt place by us, I think it was called Kiwi, I believe.
Oh, I've heard of that one too, I think.
Held up at gunpoint.
By who? The Froyo Bandits?
Held up at gunpoint. I don't know who it was. And my friend at the time was working there. She wasn't working that shift, but they released the footage. Like it was on the news and everything. I was like, oh my God, I was literally there 3 months ago. I'm going to make this about myself because that could have been me.
Well, it seems like you have a lot of details. Were you involved in some way?
I was literally in the back of my friend's camper when this happened and we were out of state.
You're like breaking news. Anyways, back to the story.
Okay, so anyway, let's get back to it.
She starts it off. Anyways, she was on her way home from work and she was driving down a back road to get home. I was definitely going like 30 to 45 miles an hour. The posted speed limit was 25 miles an hour. I was probably blasting Trap Queen by Fetty Wap or something when what do I see out of the corner of my eye? The top of a cop car that I can see hiding behind a little hill coming up on the left side of the road. Instantly, my fight or flight kicks in. I turn the music off to see better, of course. My heart starts pounding. Cold sweats are starting. I managed to slow down from 40 to 25, but it was too late. I look in my rearview mirror, and the cop has pulled out of its sneaky hiding spot and is starting to follow me. No lights on yet. In my 17-year-old brain, I did what I thought was best to do. I made my first left turn into an apartment complex. I pretended like I was pulling into my carport. I watched as the cop slowed down. At this point, I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I was done for. I was getting a ticket. I was a criminal. My mom was going to be so disappointed. What's this? Do my eyes deceive me? The cop didn't follow me. I'm obsessed how you're writing this. They kept driving. They must have either been called to somewhere else or decided it wasn't worth it. My heart is still pounding, but now with a huge sigh of relief and a massive smile. I am free. I won't have a criminal record. It is like really stressful when you just get your license to like have that first interaction with the cop.
Yeah, oh my God, absolutely. Even after that, interactions with
anytime.
cops.
You're right.
Even I get weirdly nervous when I get carded at the like liquor store or we went somewhere. Oh
That's
my God,
weird,
where?
babe. That's
where?
just...
No, I know. And then I'm like, well, now you're acting weird and you're seeming underage, but you're 30, babes. And after we got Botox, we were at 99s. I got carded for a beer. You couldn't tell me shit. I was
You're
like, yeah, I
obsessed.
do have my ID. What do you think about that? But of course, it was like out of state. So she was like, this is weird and sketchy. But I was like, but the wrinkles are gone. Okay. Anyway.
Wait, you think the story ends there? Of course not. This is the part that I have regretted since it happened. I waited maybe about 5 minutes and decided it was clear to go home. I started reversing when all of a sudden I hear a small thud. I must have been so overcome with joy that I didn't realize how close I was to one of the carport garage doors. I couldn't believe it. I pulled up and I saw a dent the size of a quarter maybe. So small, but I had no pen or paper to leave a note with my number. I regret to say I quickly pulled away. I feel like the worst human ever for denting this garage door, evading the police, and now damaging property. Who am I? Moral of the story, I think it was the cop's fault for hiding in the speed trap spot in the first place. Okay, gaslighting queen. Okay, fine, just kidding. It was my fault. I'm 26 and I've never had a speeding ticket, so you can say I learned my lesson. Love the pod and love you both. XOXO Ellie. Not my real name. I just love that name and thought it would be more fun than camper.
I love that.
I love that, like, girl, that story really wasn't about much, but I love that you're holding it in so close to your heart. Like, no one's mad at you, and I think you just love to storytell. I think you're the kind of girl that will gather the girls around a campfire and say, you know what, I'm going to spin a tale. And you really spun me with that one. The writing was clever, and it really made me laugh.
Me too.
Scary stories around the campfire.
Welcome back, campers, to Scary Stories Around the Campfire.
I'm feeling spooky.
Grab your comfort candle and your favorite Beanie Baby, because it's going to get scary.
We just started selling these new Beanie Babies down at the camp gift shop.
Yeah.
They're the shape of a s'more.
Mm-hmm.
And when you squeeze it, the marshmallow's eyes bulge out. So it also, I think it was actually marketed as a chew toy, but
And it does squeak also. There's no beans in sight, actually. You know what? We're actually, it's on chewy.com.
well, I thought that was just some sort of Alibaba.
Not Alibaba, no. Okay, so this is Scary Stories. We're going to read scary stories that are either embarrassing or actually scary. Let's just get into it.
You know first?
Yeah. Dear counselors.
See, sometimes the headers are a little confusing. It's honestly not their fault. It's our fault for just letting that confuse us.
Okay, I'm going to change the words. Hey, counselors.
Love that.
I've been wrestling with whether or not to submit this story, considering the fact that it is not only one of the most embarrassing things that have ever happened to me, but I have actively tried to delete this from my memory, with no success, as you can see. Listen, we've all got those memories.
So get it out here.
I started sleeping with a sleep playlist on because it's been really bad lately, where I'll just be laying down and if I can't sleep, just all the embarrassing moments that have ever happened in my existence come flooding to my frontal cortex.
Yeah, so the sleep playlist is helping, you think?
I left my screen on and it was under my pillow, and I woke up in the middle of the night and it was hot because the display didn't turn off.
Yeah, you almost caused a pillow fire. That happens all the time on insurance claims. It's just listed as pillow fire. I made that up on the spot.
Oh my God. See, my heart just dropped because I was like, I could have literally burned this place to the ground. We have neighbors.
I'm an improv king.
You look at you.
Yes,
Not you
and-
checking your nails. Like, yeah.
No, because I bought new denim today and it was damp and I have like black shit under my nails. It's not my fault. I didn't pre-wash them.
Yeah, your legs under there are going to look crazy.
Knock it off.
Okay, back to the story. Guys, focus, please. Jesus. Anyway, I figured I couldn't rid myself of this memory. I might as well share it with you guys. Let's get into it. During the summer of 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, my partner and I decided we would do a staycation to get out of the city. We're both from London, UK.
I love that.
Hey, London, look. And have been basically trapped in our tiny one-bedroom flat since March.
Oh my God. If a British person says flat to me out loud, I'm like loving it. I love that there's a menagerie of sounds coming from our window. This is giving very New York right now. It sounds like a soundboard if they're hearing it.
Yeah, if you can hear that, that's we're not in New York. We're actually at Camp Shady Bar. So it's just that's the gray parrots that are mocking the sounds that they heard.
Oh, the African macaws.
Yes, of course. Okay, so they've been trapped in their one-bedroom flat since March. We've been together for a decade and have a great relationship with his parents. So we decided to invite them along for this staycation with us. Added bonus, they had a car, so they would be able to drive us around. Like, they will be transporting us everywhere. Maybe to go get froyo at Pinkberry? Who knows? We found a really cute rental cabin in a holiday park and booked 3 days and 2 nights. Fast forward to day 2. After a great night's sleep and a fun-filled first day, well, she tried to trip me up there, but she didn't get me.
You did it right. That was perfect.
Fun-filled first day, I was feeling really good and ready to take on the day. But first, nature called. I went to the shared bathroom to do my thing, and I waited for my stomach to rise and shine. I started to scroll on my phone. Standard pooping behavior.
Of course.
I opened up my Apple Books app and started to browse through the recommended reading. As a woman in her 30s, I'm partial to a bit of erotic reading every now and then, so a few of my suggestions had this in mind.
Nice. Good for you.
To my surprise, Apple had in fact recommended some erotic audiobooks. Intriguing. She's like, it's literally 7:30 a.m. Like, let me just listen to 50 Shades of Grey.
I picture the book being called The Farmer in the Dell.
Do you want to expand on the plot?
No, I don't think I need to. I think our erotic listeners said, "Oh, I know that too." The Farmer and the Dell.
The Farmer and the Bell.
What the fuck is the Dell? I'm not doing this. Please keep reading.
The Wisconsin Dells. I will say.
Wait, maybe that's what that actually was.
Oh my God.
That's probably what it is.
We could. It is a Google search away, but we'll never do that.
No, it's a mystery of the world. I don't want to know. Do not write it and tell us. I just want to keep it like to myself. I think it's fun to not know.
Yeah. Sandwich screens the emails. So if you try to ruin it for us and you know what the Dell is, we're not going to find out because Sandwich will simply not tell us. All right. So back to the story. My interest peaked. I clicked the first one that came up and I pressed sample. And after a short pause, it happened. The time code at the bottom was running and it looked like it was playing. So I turned the volume up louder and still nothing. Or so I thought. Bellowing over the Bluetooth speaker in the communal kitchen was a woman's voice vividly describing a throbbing, bulging man and the sopping wet lady garden he was thrusting into.
Okay, so the preview for erotic books really goes gung ho because they're like, hey, we gotta sell it quick. You only have a little bit of a preview. That's so crazy that they would go so crazy off the jump. Oh my God, that's nuts.
Well, it was a selling point. Yes, I had completely forgotten that my phone was still hooked up to the Bluetooth speaker, and for a few seconds my brain couldn't register it, that my partner and his parents were subjected to the most graphic, audible accompaniment to their breakfast cereal.
Unbelievable.
Mortified, I waited a few minutes after frantically disconnecting my phone and gingerly left the bathroom. I see, like, if that was me, I'd be like stretching. I'd be like, whoa, so what's everybody like up to?
I can't do it. That kind of pressure. I would come out and say, you know what? It happened and we're going to move on because then I can move on. But if I can't acknowledge it, then I can't move on.
It's a good point. We just need to acknowledge it. And there's no shame in it.
No, but it is an there's an embarrassment of putting it over the Bluetooth speaker. There's no shame in reading it, but blasting it, that's a little funny.
Oh my God, if that happened to me with your parents, I'm putting myself in those shoes right now and I'm taking them right off.
We are never going on a vacation with my family, and my parents, they don't even know what a Bluetooth is. So they'd be like, they think it was God speaking to them. They don't. They literally don't know. They're like, we can't get Wi-Fi down here.
Who is that?
How can they can't get Wi-Fi at their house? They literally told me the cable company said it's not possible for them. I'm like, y'all are so gullible, and I can't. They're foolish.
Like when they got hacked.
Yeah, I'm like, they just didn't know how to unlock your Apple ID, Dad. But
Just over it. Like, you got hacked. Move on. Okay. Anyway,
old people love to be hacked.
So mortified, I waited a few minutes after frantically disconnecting my phone and gingerly left the bathroom to join my holiday roommates. My partner's mum, M-U-M, mind you.
In the holiday.
And the holiday, not the vacation.
They were at
What
a
do
holiday park, which I thought was funny.
They call it a staycation. They should call it a stay holiday. A stoliday.
Okay. We'll shop that a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll work on that. And we'll rebrand it overseas. So my partner's mum, immediately made a joke about my listening preferences. Typical mum-in-law behavior.
That's so typical mum-in-law behavior.
I tried to play it off as a random pop. I swear it was a virus. It was a pop-up.
Kind of clever, like, to be on top of your toes and be like, you know what? It was a pop-up. Like, I don't blame her. It's kind of clever.
Sure, Jan. I have no idea whether they actually bought my lie or not, but to this day, we have never spoken about it again. I still get paranoid whenever I go to play anything out loud on my phone and will never look at an audiobook the same way. Signed, the traumatized camper in cabin 22.
That's definitely traumatizing, and I feel like that's really appropriate to bring on the show. That's the kind of stuff we love to hear.
That absolutely. We had this story before. It was way back when we started that this girl's phone was playing at the pool party. Remember that? My God, share those embarrassing stories. But has that ever happened to you where your phone was like playing loud over the speakers?
Definitely something I've played by accident, but nothing of like that merit, you know?
Yeah.
Not Lady Wet Gardens.
Mine happened. It was at my parents' house, maybe an Instagram video or something. I don't know. It was a parrot. It was literally a parrot that was like squawking, and I couldn't hear it on my phone. So I turned it up really loud and I heard it playing downstairs, and it was the most horrible shriek and my dad screaming because he didn't know where it was coming from. I was like, sorry, Dad.
Well, people just start screaming when they don't know what's happening. They're like, so Dad's literally a Bluetooth speaker while you scream.
He thought there was a parrot coming to attack him.
That's so bad. He's like ducking and flicking his arms up in the air.
I would. They're scary. They bite.
That's such a funny story. I would love to be a fly on the wall to see Robbie look at that.
A bird on the wall.
Hysterical.
All right. So that's my scary story.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you, camper.
Speaking of bird on the wall,
What?
this story is
It's about a bird on a wall.
Well, I'm not going to give it away, but this gave me quite a fright.
Okay.
It's actually a story that's going to change the way I live.
Okay.
So, campers, this is a really good one.
All right.
Hi there, my favorite counselors. I started listening to your podcast back in November, and I've been binging old episodes ever since. To show receipts for my binging, this story was sparked from episode 34, my story about the seagull. I think the seagull that took my hot dog.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be that story.
It has to be that
I
story.
don't have that many run-ins with seagulls.
Yeah, I was going to say, what else do we have? Seagull
As
issues.
much as they've been the bane of my beach existence, I do love them. It's like I love them. They hate me. We I don't know. We squall.
They're mean and their knees are backwards. And that's all I need to know about them. I don't trust them.
And I'm mean, and I'm looking to get a surgery to make my knees backwards.
As long as the doctor's hot.
Great callback.
Thank you.
To set the scene, I was 7 years old, and my parents were on vacation, and my grandparents had come to babysit myself and my 3 older brothers while they were away. Since my parents were enjoying their bougie vacation in the Caribbean, my brothers and I begged to go to the beach for the day to try and compete. You know, because a Jersey Beach and the Caribbean are equivalent rivals. If mom and dad are going to the beach in Bahamas, we're going to the beach too. It's like, literally, you're not going to compete, but go off. Anyways, my grandparents, knowing what they were about to experience would be nothing like their Cape Cod beaches, reluctantly agreed to take us. Okay, grandparents are from the Cape. These kids are living in Jersey. Parents are in the
Mom and dad are
Bahamas.
overseas. Yeah.
You're giving a lot of locations, and I'm really picking it up.
Yeah.
The only catch was we were told that we had to pick out our own supplies. Naturally, as the chunky monkey 5-year-old boy that I was, I decided to pack myself a little snack for the beach. literally just say you're talking about myself. It's like, that's so me.
You have to. You're gonna get hungry. It's a long day in the sun.
Yeah, but a 5-year-old's priority not being the
Shovel in the pail.
It's not. It's the snack.
And those stupid fucking like things that have like a crab in it that you stuff up. You're telling me you did that?
Though that actually really stung because I have such fond memories of all of those. Those are so cute.
I think they're cute,
octopus.
but as a child, I remember looking at them and being like, "Okay, what else does it do?"
He's 5 years old.
Okay.
He didn't even talk about them.
Okay. Anyway.
About 2 hours into our beach day, I reached into my Adidas string bag and whipped out my gallon Ziploc baggie of goldfish with such pride, knowing my brothers would be jealous. This is like so me. Before I could even enjoy my first fistful to the face, my grandma snatched them away from my hands, yelling, "No eating on the beach." That's when the seagulls come. I begged, pleaded, and beseeched for my goldfish back. I've never even heard of that word, beseeched. But my grandma refused. As she sat up in her chair, I thought I was about to get one of those classic grandma scoldings. Instead, I got something much worse. A story. Campers, I'm not joking. Buckle in for this.
Oh my God, a story within a story.
Yes.
It's giving Inception.
My grandma then went into a grimacing detail of her beach trip a few years back with her friends on East Beach in New Bedford. That's fucking crazy because I know the beach. That's right where Kira lives.
Oh my God.
I think West Beach is the one where Kira lives next to. On the other side where the restaurant is, the name is escaping me. It used to be Davy's Locker.
Moe's.
No. Do you know the one that has the outdoor band area?
Cisco.
That's Cisco. That's
Okay.
East Beach. That's East Beach. Whatever. New Bedford talk. Sorry, guys, locals. Her grandma and her friend were on East Beach in New Bedford. And the grandma's friend was eating a hot dog on the beach. Okay.
Sorry, this is very you. Eating a hot dog on the beach, literally at a beach that you would like participate in.
At my hometown. It's crazy. The seagulls watching from afar while she dressed up her hot dog, but they were laughing at the sight of the birds begging for a bite. Never taunt them. To their dismay, as her friend was about to dive in for that deliciously juicy first bite of her hot dog, a ravenous seagull landed on her head to compete for it. And quite a battle it was. She yelled, swatted, and started to run, but she was no match for the talons of the seagull, entangled in her hair, bloodthirsty for a hot dog. My grandma chased her own friend down, waving her hands and yelling in an attempt to scare off the gluttonous bird, but she was too late. Before she knew it, the bird and her hot dog was gone, and so was her nose.
Her nose? Her whole nose?
Her whole nose was ripped off by the seagull.
Oh, the talons.
Ripped off because it was reaching for the hot dog near the face, and while it was fighting for the hot dog, its talons gripped and grabbed the nose and ripped the nose off.
I'm sorry, the seagulls that you guys have in Massachusetts are different because I mean, I was in Jersey for a lot of my beach going times, and our seagulls were smaller. You guys got like larger than a Thanksgiving turkey.
No, it's true. They're definitely beastly animals, and this is a proven point that they're no joke.
So her nose is gone.
Luckily for my grandma's friend, the bird was more interested in the hot dog and dropping her nose only a few feet away, which was able to be reattached in a hospital without any trouble.
Not in the sand.
Girl, just say St. Luke's, okay? I got friends that are nurses in the emergency room. Desiree is about to get the nose reattached for you. Unlucky for me, to this day, I am still terrified of birds, especially seagulls, and eating any sort of food on the beach. So, to all you beach sandwich eaters, again, hey Zachariah, just make sure you keep an eye out, or maybe try wearing a baseball cap next time before you take your first bite. Fistfuls of goldfish to the face and cabin 8.
Seagulls are no joke. That is horrifying.
No, I don't think I don't think I'll ever be able to pull out a sandwich on a beach or any snack that matter and not think back to this story. I think it actually has changed me.
Do you think the grandma was embellishing to get him to stop?
No, I don't think a grandmother would tell a 5-year-old that story if it wasn't true.
Hey.
And the way that
true.
her instant reaction was to be like,
this is why we're not doing that.
yeah, like, okay, what's the grandma, the erotic novelist from the last story? Like, is she just like spinning crazy tales? Is she an author? She's grandma. I don't think grandmas have maybe grandmas have the capability to be that crazy, but it's like, that's kind of crazy to tell a 5-year-old.
My grandmother did the quite the opposite. And she would feed them. She would break up bread and she'd be like, come on, kids, let's feed the seagulls.
Yeah, and now you can't give birds bread anymore.
No, if I see people feeding seagulls at the beach, if any of our campers out there are people who feed the seagulls at the beach.
No, you're not doing this because you don't even like seagulls. I like seagulls still.
But I'm saying don't do it.
Well,
They can find food other ways. They fucking, their talents. It sounds like they can just open a door to 7-Eleven.
Oh, wait. So I'm going to give you the same food every single day. And you're going to eat it in front of a buffet of everybody else. So I'm going to make you eat like grilled like halibut and broccoli. But I'm going to put you in front of a Taco Bell and have everyone go back and forth. Like that, you were just taunting them by eating at the beach. Like no wonder they're going to go die for something sweet.
They should go get a job at the froyo place, save up some money, and then they can hit up the drive-thru.
Yeah, maybe if the seagulls were working at Pink Bean, we'd still have the pink beans.
Not the pink bean.
Well, we don't have many.
Pinkberry.
Oh.
You call pink bean.
Oh, Pink Bean's another local place.
Oh,
that does sound really sexual.
It sounds like a pissy.
Okay, that's enough of this week. We love you so much, campers. If you have any stories you want to submit for any of our fabulous segments, please send them into campcounselorspodcast.com or campcounselorspod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate and review our podcast 5 stars.
Yeah.
Check out the Patreon.
Yeah, if you'd like to. We love you so much.
And with that being said, lights out, campers.